Nah. Secure the bag with 1017 Scoochie. Yeah, Puerto Rico, East Atlanta. Well, Miami. My money machine go beep, I love the sound that it make. Plus all the racks I'm count, I think that my machine about to break. Secure the bag, yeah, that's the brand, and we get to the bag. These private flights, Miami nice, these Gucci bags full of cash. So when Tay Sweat from Puerto Rico, we go hard for the cheese. It's all legit, we making grip, they think I'm still selling keys. I just Cartier my eyes, cost 5 G's just to see.
What's going on, family? It's your man Tay Sweat here, and I'm bringing you another podcast for the first time, right? So this is podcast episode number 1 of the Ask Tay Podcast. Now, a lot of you are probably wondering, where am I now, right? Where have you been, right? Some of you are probably thinking, who are you? Who is this guy, right? Why should I even listen? Okay. Well, of course, that's what this podcast episode is going to be about. This is number 1. I'm starting a new one simply because there's been a lot of requests. I'll say a great amount of people. Tay, where's the podcast? You got to bring it back. You got to bring it back. And I've been on the road. I've been in Puerto Rico. For those of you who don't know, I've been living in Puerto Rico for over 3 years now. And of course, it's not the easiest thing to do podcasting there, right? So, podcasting, bringing people in, as far as guests, things like that, it's pretty tough on the island because we're just gonna leave it there. It's pretty tough, right? But I'm back. It's time to go. We got a lot of talk, a lot of stuff to talk about. And for the most part, I got a lot of questions. I'm looking at these questions y'all been asking me, and I feel like this is the best time to start back up and answer these questions that y'all been asking. All right. So with that being said, let's get started. Let's have some fun. This is once again podcast number 1, episode number 1. I'm ready to get you all of the good stuff you've been asking for. All right. So today, what I want to focus on is answering the question of who am I? A lot of people are going to ask me, some of you all are seeing me on the leaderboards of course, Robins Cup. For those of you who don't know what the Robins Cup is the most prestigious trading competition in the world, right? It's a global competition. It's for futures trading or futures options, Forex, and pretty much every big dog trader that is, recorded in history has gone through the Robins Cup, right? So a lot of you are coming over from that and you're wondering, who am I? Who's this guy that just showed up on the leaderboards? And how can I find out more about you? So that's why I'm also starting this podcast and giving you this episode so you can see what's up and who I am. With that being said, we're doing good right now in the Robins Cup. I think I'm at maybe 3rd or 4th place. I'm averaging around 70-80% right now, so we're doing good, right? But overall, who am I? Am I just a futures trader? Am I just a guy on the internet? And that's what I want to talk about today on this first episode, and I want to kind of break down some things that you may have not known about me, right? And that's going to open up the space to have these conversations that we're going to be having on this podcast, all right? So I'm a family man, number 1. I've been married for almost 3 years now. And this is my 2nd marriage, right? And I always say that I think a man find out what he actually, and I think anybody really finds out what they actually want after the first, marriage. And some people may take 2 or 3, right? I don't plan on going to 3. I think I've made it to my ultimate place. I'm very happy where I am, happily married. And I feel like I have a lot of things that I've gone through that I can actually share and maybe even just push your way, right? So we've talked about this before for those of y'all who've been here. So that being said, yes, been married twice now. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I don't want to be, I'm a boss, right? But yeah, I employ, a lot of people and I pay my people really well. I do a little something with that. But overall, I'm a man who loves to take care of his family, who loves to take care of his people, who loves to teach, right? You ask me to the core, who am I to the core? I'm a teacher to the core. I'm a teacher, to be honest with you. So I'm a teacher, and what I've been doing for years is just teaching outside of the stock market and futures and options and crypto. Outside of that, I'm a teacher, right? I got my start as the vegan trainer, for those of you all who don't know, right? I started as the vegan trainer. This actual page on YouTube started as the vegan trainer, right? And what led me to do what I'm doing now, as far as teaching people about financial literacy, teaching you about stock trading, investing, long-term, short-term, crypto, etc. What led me to that was the vegan trainer, because as I was training people, hey, I need you to eat, this organic fruit, this organic vegetables, and everybody's like, well, hey, that's a little bit of it. Yeah, it's a little expensive. I can't afford that. I saw so many people who were like, hey, I just can't afford, to eat the best things for my body. I'll be honest, that's kind of sad. It's kind of sad. So I'm like, man, here we are at a position where people can't afford the foods that they need, not want. They can afford what they need. So I'm like, I got you, right? I got you. What I'm going to do is I'll teach you what the rich people have been teaching me, right? Now, of course, a lot of people are going to say, well, where did you get it from? If you are this person who grew up, however you grew up, right? Which we'll get into that. How did you learn it, right? How did you learn it? Well, moving backwards, I want to start you where we are now. And I'm going to take you back, way back in time, right? So what I actually was blessed to be able to do and experience was working with rich people before I even became, wealthy or rich, right? And so as I, went through vegan trainer, and actually before I went vegan, fully vegan trainer, I was working with in-person clients, because of course vegan training was online. It was on YouTube. It was on Instagram. It was on Facebook, right? Because I've been doing this for a while, right? So we're talking about 2012 maybe is when I first started my internet journey, and then we went off from there. I actually posted my first video on YouTube in 2008. So I've been doing it for a while. And anyway, so at the time I was living in Nashville, Tennessee. It's my hometown. And I was coaching, or I was training, wealthy people who could afford, $100 an hour, because that's what I charged. And so these people who were coming in were from all walks of life. I don't care if you got your start in healthcare, all the way over to music, all the way over to, just entrepreneurs who just, built something, right? Inventors. And so there was one guy who led me down the path of working and reading and building a business and building my mindset to be an investor versus an employee, right? His name was Joe Maxwell. Shout out to Joe. Joe Maxwell, very well off man. I met him, like I said, probably one of my first clients at the gym that I worked. And basically, there was one thing that he told me, right? And I want to share this with you because I think this can help someone, because it helped me a lot. So we're working out. I'm training him, and he mentions a TV show. Hey, have you seen this? I think this would be great for you to go check out. Whatever. Well, I said, oh, Joe, that sounds good. I said, well, I haven't seen it, but when I'm bored, I'll check it out. I was like, when I have some time on my hand and I'm bored, I'll check it out. He looks at me, he goes, no, you're never bored, and you should never be bored. As a matter of fact, there's always a book to read if you are quote unquote bored. So scratch the TV show, scratch anything on TV, as a matter of fact. And the next time I hear you say you're bored, here's the book I want you to read, right? And then of course he showed me on the phone. He said, go get that book. You need to read this book, right? Well, this book was The Richest Man in Babylon, right? It was kind of how I got started. Essentially, I took that to heart, right? It was kind of like a punch in the gut. And I was like, okay, all right, I'll never say I'm bored again, right? And so he started me down that journey, and I knew then that it was a wealthy man's mindset to read in your leisure time, right? So I was like, all right, cool. So that started me down this journey. I started reading. I started doing more of the work of what it takes to become what I consider myself, or I consider, men of this level to be higher value men, right? It has nothing to do with money. It has to do with this and how you move, your character, right? And so you have a bunch of values that are higher, or standards even that are higher than the average man's standards, right? And so, for example, I have a standard that says I need to learn from a coach every year. I need one new coach a year. I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know how I'm going to find you, but I'm going to find someone who can teach me something, and I'm going to learn something new from someone who's already successful at that every year. This is what I consider to be a standard of a higher value person, not even just a man, but any person who wants to learn something new every year, and not only learn something new, but go out and seek a person or a coach or mentorship from someone. That to me is a very high value standard, if you will. So that's just one of my standards. So that kind of led me down the path to building these standards, building these measurable values, right? So I started reading, and I heard, shout out to my guy. This is probably around the first time I met Brandon Carter. Shout out to Brandon Carter, man. I met him probably for the first time in like 2014, 2015. At the time when I met him, we had a conversation. He said, I'm reading one book a week. I was like, oh, is that so? I guess I read one book a week now, right? And so that led me once again to going further. And I was like, all right, I got to read one book a week. But I didn't just want to read a book a week. I wanted to understand what I was reading. I wanted to break it down. If I got to go in and highlight some areas, I needed to know what I was reading. And if that meant that I couldn't watch TV, if that meant that I was going to have to miss out on the boys' night out or whatever it is, I was going to do that because I saw another man who I consider to have higher values. I see this man reading one book a week. You're not going to get too far ahead of me, right? So if you're reading one book a week, okay, I got to read one book a week because I got to keep up. You're not getting ready to leave me behind, right? And I mean that just as a man, period. In the manosphere, you're not going to leave me behind. And here you are learning all this stuff. And I'm just going out, fellas time and watching TV and doing all this other. No, we're not doing that, right? And so once again, at the core of myself, that's who I am, right? I'm very competitive. I'm very eager to learn, right? Even to this day, I still want to learn something new as much as possible. So that's kind of how that worked. That's what got me started down this journey, right? Now, why did I get started down this journey? What led me to get, as eager as I am to want to read? What made me listen to Joe Maxwell when he kind of punched me in my stomach and was like, mother, you need to go read. Well, the number one thing that was responsible for even having me in the right mindset to get there is because I reached rock bottom, right? Once again, I told you I'm moving you backwards through my storyline. So 2010, 2009, I ended up filing for bankruptcy. Right? Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And the reason why is because I got hit, just like most people did. I got hit by the financial crisis in 07, 08. And of course, it took a while for it to kind of spin out of control because, it takes a lot of paperwork, a lot of craziness to lose your house. When you foreclose on the house, they kind of let you, hey, you can stay in there until we come get it, right? And so, I had a house at the time, 5-bedroom house. I was 21, 20, something like that. So I was doing pretty well for myself. I worked at a job. Anybody who knows me, like I said, I'm from Nashville and I worked at a warehouse, right? Shout out to my people who worked at warehouse jobs, right? So I was working in a warehouse, working, long hours, but I was making, 80, 90K a year. And so I had a decent thing going for myself at a younger age. And so I was making 80, 90K a year. That's with overtime and a little side hustle here and there, but I was making good money. And, good money is relative, by the way. However, I was making good money and I decided, hey, I'm going to have to reset things, right? Because I lost my job. They fired me and laid me off, right? And so they laid me off from work. And that, of course, led to me losing my house, my cars. I couldn't keep up with the car payments. I couldn't keep up with, pretty much the debt that I had. And I didn't have a lot of debt per se, but I was in debt because usually when you start debt, you expect to continue to make the money to pay the debt back, right? So when I say debt, we're talking about the house, had a mortgage. I don't like that word mortgage, but I had a mortgage, right? I had a car payment. I had actually a couple car payments. So I needed a bigger car and I had a smaller car. And so, I ended up losing it all and going back to rock bottom, right? Rock bottom. And so what ended up happening was I went back, I stayed with my mom. I said, hey, I need to move back in. And she didn't have anywhere for me to go but the floor. She said, you can sleep in the living room on the floor. However, I need half the rent every month. And so I'm thinking to myself, what do you mean you need half the rent every month? This is insane. Like, I'm sleeping on the floor. Right? How am I on the hook for half? And I'm getting like peanuts, right? Well, my mom always treated me like a man. She's like, I don't care how old or young you are, you're going to have to pay, right? You're going to have to pay. You have to keep up with, your upkeep is what she used to say. And so, which I appreciate, by the way, because think about it. This is what made me a man who could afford a house at 20, 21 anyway, right? I had a 5-bedroom house at 21. So that's what led me to the point to even be able to like hustle up and afford things like that at a young age, right? So I know men nowadays 40, 45 and still don't have a house, right? So it made me who I was, right? It made me who I was, and I'm forever grateful for that. So I sleep on the floor. I go find a temp job. I got another warehouse job. It was a temp job, and I pay half. And other than that, I lay low. Right? I lay low. And I tell this story because I know a lot of people are always asking me, Tay, how did you make it out? Right? I'm here and I'm trying to get here. Or I'm way down here and I'm trying to get way up here. How did you get there? Right? And so this is why I wanted to kind of tell this story, because I think I can help a lot of people through what they're going through, right? So some of the action items that I took, and the reason why I'm mentioning this and doing this for you all, because there's a list of action items that you must take to get out of any poor situation that you're in. Financially poor, I'd even say mentally poor, right? There's steps that you have to take. Number one, you need to, I call it look left. This is what makes us, when I teach traders, this is what makes us good traders, because at any given time, you need to look left on the stock chart, right? So whatever stock, if you're looking at the S&P 500, I don't care what's going on right now. You need to look left and see what happened in the past. That's going to give you your buyers, your sellers. It's going to give you trends. It's going to give you what's going on now by looking in the past, right? And it'll somewhat help you to be able to tell where, the stock is going, right? And I think the same thing happens with men, right? And I just say with people, period. If you tell me what you had been doing and what you're slowly starting to do now, I can tell you your future, right? I'm going to say that again because I don't think you understand what I'm really getting at here. Show me what you did and then show me what you're doing now. I'm looking left on your life. Show me what you did. Show me what you're doing now, or maybe like last week. And then I can tell you based on what you did and are doing currently, I can tell you where you're going. Are you going up or are you going down? And so what I notice is a lot of people who complain about their situation, financial situation especially, they're doing activities, they're doing things in their life that's leading them down, right? Are you reading the books? Are you doing what you're supposed to be doing in the financial literacy space, as far as building up your financial literacy, as far as understanding about finances, period, right? Are you doing those things? And so for me, I knew that I had to do it, right? I had to do it. I had to, go through the trenches with, staying on my mom's floor, paying for half, doing all of that good stuff. And so for me, it's like, okay, at this route, I think I'm at a place where I can say, you know what? This is motivation for me to get out, right? So once again, I look left on my decisions. I look left on what I did that led me here. And the number one, probably two things. The two things that I realized is, number one, I was giving someone the full, I guess you can say, the full go ahead or the full right away to feed me, which also gives them the full right away or go ahead to starve me. So it's like, hey, can you give me a job? Can you give me money? Can you give me? My mom used to say, gimme's what got you here, right? And so I'm asking like, gimme. Can you give me a job? Can you give me a paycheck every week? Can you give me? And what I realized once I hit rock bottom and I was on my mom's floor, what I realized is I was gimme. And when they was done with the gimme process, I was left with nothing. And so I got to figure out, and this is what I'm going through in my head at the time, I got to figure out how to get away from gimme, gimme, gimme. And I'm going to what I call kicking the door, right? Kicking the door mentality is what I call it, right? And so for me, at that point, I said, okay, I need to restructure some things. And so the next time that this happens, right? Or the next time, that won't be a next time actually, but the next time I'm up and I'm working and I'm earning money, I'll be doing it on my own watch. I'll be earning my own money. And kind of like what they always say, in the popular, culture for us, they always say, listen, you eat what you kill, right? You eat what you kill. And I took that to heart. I said, okay, so I got to go out and get it. No more gimme, right? No more gimme. You got to eat what you kill. So I said, okay, let's do it. Let's do it. And so that was the first thing, once again, that I had to focus on. It was actually going through and looking at my past. What was I doing that led me here? Number two, you have to take ownership of it so that you can change it. I see this happen a lot too. If I look at my past and I'm like, that wasn't that bad. I actually did pretty good. Look at all the things that I've done to change. And look how great that I ended up. That's the worst, right? And I have family members. We're going to talk about family members and all of the craziness, right? We'll talk about that. Trust me, there are going to be some episodes where we go in on family because I got questions from some of you who be like, Tay, when you start the podcast again, big dog, let's talk about, how trash some family members can be. We're going to go there. But I have family members who, when they're in a bad situation, and of course they're asking for money, the number one thing that I noticed that they say or they bring up is, look how great I've done. Look at all the success that I've done thus far. Look at the changes. I haven't asked you for money in this long. I haven't done these bad habits in this amount of time. I've been so good this long, right? And this is what people do to you when they cheat on you. This is what people do to you when they do you wrong. This is what people say when they're trying to get you to just don't focus on the negative. Just look at all the good that I've done for you, right? This is what they do, right? And so if you got, it's no different than, like I said, ladies, if a man is cheating on you and he goes, well, I haven't cheated. I haven't cheated in 6 years. Like I'm due for one. Almost, right? Like, I ain't cheated in 6 years, baby. So this little one time, aren't you proud of me? I went 6 years without doing it. Think about a drug addict, right? Think about somebody who's on drugs or alcohol addiction or something, right? And it's like, I haven't been drunk in 6 years. So one drunken night, that should be all right. Crazy, right? This is what we have to get away from. And so once again, taking credit or taking responsibility and accountability for your actions that led you to that. And despite all of the good that you've done and the improvements you've done, you still made it into the worst or not so good situation. So the good doesn't even matter because guess what? No matter how good you did, you've done something so bad still that you ended up in this not so good situation. So we have to comb through those, once again, look left, comb through it, see what you've done not so good and change it, fix it, improve it. Stop doing it. If it's one of those things that you need to stop doing it. If it's something that you need to do, man, I need to take better, care of my finances. I need to save more. I need to budget better. I need to pay my taxes a little bit better, right? And I think all of us need to, do that. But I feel like there's always something you can look back and go, I can do better. I messed up here, and here. I could do better. That is what essentially allowed me to get from sleeping on my mom's floor to, living in, 10,000 square foot homes, right? So this is who I am. This is what I've done. This is what, I want to be able to use to help more people, right? Because I've been through a lot and I think I can help a lot. So what we're going to do throughout this, this year, the next few years, what we're going to be doing is we're just going to comb through some of those things that you all have questions about that I should be able to help with. If I can't help you with it, I do plan on bringing in professionals who can help you with it. So if you ask me a question and I think it's a dope question, I think it's something that a lot of people can benefit from, I'll go find someone. If you request them, especially, I'll ask you, hey, I'm not very versed in this. Who should I bring on the podcast for this topic? Because I don't know it all, but I've been through enough to where I feel like I can help a lot of people, thousands and thousands of people. So we're going to be talking about things like, Tay, What do I do when my wife or my spouse, let's just say my spouse, is my biggest hater? Everything I try to do to financially improve myself or just overall improve myself, my wife or my husband or my spouse, they just talk negative about it. They talk down to me. What do? We'll talk about it. Tell you, I got family members who, no matter how much money I give them, is never enough. They won't go get a job. And when I give them opportunities to go work and earn the money themselves, they just don't. They just don't help me. We'll talk about it, right? We'll talk about it. We'll go over it. Tay, I've seen you build multiple businesses to 7-8 figures a year. How'd you do that? We can talk about that, right? We can talk about that. Tay, I'm going through a divorce right now. What should I do? Should I stay? Should I leave? I don't know, but we can talk about it. 'Cause I've been there too, right? I've been there. Tay, I'm making all this money, right? I'm doing great for myself. And I just want to ball out with some of it. What should I do? Should I actually be smart and, spend it on my family and just be a responsible person? Or should I, indulge a little bit? We'll talk about it. I've had my fun with my Lamborghinis and whatnot, but there's a way to do it all, right? So we're going to have some fun with it. This is going to be a great, great season. I'm super excited. I'm super amped. Let me say it that way. I'm amped. Excited is one thing, but I'm amped. I'm charged up, right? Because I got so much to share over these last 3-4 years that I've wanted to share, but I haven't had the opportunity to. So we'll talk about lying, cheating, stealing, trading, leveling up, building businesses, building families, getting married, getting divorced, raising children, whatever it is. If I've done it, especially if I've done it successfully at a higher level, I'm sure I can help you with it. I'm sure, even if it's just my 2 cents, I'm sure it can help. So that's what we're going to do, right? Other than that, one of the things I like to focus on is hedging in life, right? Because this is what we do in the markets. And to be honest with you, women do it all the time. It's called, we call it hedging in the stock world. You all call it something else, right? And we'll talk about it. But before I go, I'm just going to say this. When women, especially, right? And I'm sure somebody's going to be like, oh my God, Tay, don't talk about me. You stepping on my toes right now. Women, more especially, the more attractive you are, I think the more you do it. Women will get men who fit certain structures or fulfill certain needs. We'll say that. And if you can't get one man to fulfill all the needs, or if you can't get that man, because trust me, usually the way it happens is they found the man who can fulfill all the needs. The one you want to take home to your parents, the one you just really want to marry. He's got a decent set of arms, right? He's got a nice chest. He's tall. He looks the part, right? I know how y'all do it. He looks the part. You want to be seen on his arm. Look like he got a nice job. Maybe he's a boss. He drives a nice car. He dresses nice when you see him. He smells good, right? I know. You got that one. But why can't you get him? Because he be tripping, right? He be tripping. But that's okay. He don't know he mine, right? That's how y'all think. He don't know yet. But watch this. Because you can't get him right now and he tripping. Maybe he's dating another woman and you waiting for her to mess up. I know how y'all do it, man. You waiting for her to mess up. I know. Or he's just a player, so you're like, he's still tripping right now. I'm gonna let it get it out of his system, right? I know. But while you wait on her to mess up with him, or you wait for him to get it out of his system, what you do is you get you one for each category. So you get one that just has the arms and the chest and has the height, right? Like, oh my God, like he looks, this is the look. So you get Mr. Look on the table, right? You get Mr. Look on the table and you say, okay, he'll do now for the look portion. But Mr. Look, although your number one that you want, the one that's tripping, he's the perfect one for you. That's the one you really want. But right now, just the looker will do. Now, he doesn't have a job, right? But he looks good. And 9 times out of 10, maybe he does you right. Let's just say that, right? He does you right. Then you got the one who doesn't look the part at all, right? He doesn't look the part at all. You don't want him to do you right, if you know what I mean. But he's very, very, very convenient. If you out at 2 a.m. in the middle of the night with a flat tire, coming from Mr. He'll Do You Right, coming from his house, you can call number 3 and you can say, hey, I'm out. I just caught a flat tire and I need help, right? Now, you don't want nothing else from him. He's probably overweight. He's probably goofy. He's a goofball, right? He's probably you just don't like him. But you know you can get whatever you want out of him. He shows up, change your tire. As a matter of fact, he's so good. He loves you so much. He shows up, change your tire, and he bought you some dinner. I figured you'd be hungry. It's late at night. I bought flashlights so we can make sure everything is great. I've warmed the car up for you. You just go over there. I'll change the tire. He out in the rain. It's cold. He done got you. Most of y'all eat Chick-fil-A. We vegan over here, so, maybe he bought you some, some hummus or something. But he got you some food, snacks, your favorite snacks too. And you chilling in the car, watching this man in the rain change your tires. And you're not delivering nothing in return, but it's the dream that one day you might. So he keep doing this crazy shit for you. This is what we call a hedge. This is what women have been doing for, I don't know, years, right? Hundreds of years, as far as I'm concerned, right? And this is what we do in the market. We hedge. If we can't get the one we want, that's all right. We'll hedge. We'll grab another one. We'll take it the opposite way. If I want to take the stock market down and it doesn't go down right now, and it keeps going up where it looks like it wants to go up, guess what? I'll also grab a position to make money as it goes up. And so if you go up, great. I'll start taking profit as you go up. And then when you give me more signals to go down, I'll also have a position to take the market down as well, right? This is what we call a hedge. And this is what we do in life, right? And once again, women do it the best. So I'm just bringing that as a little something, and I want to almost put a focus on it. We're going to hedge in life. I want to show you how to live your life in a way that no matter what happens to you, you will be okay because you've hedged for a rainy day. All right. And with that being said, you're going to hear me say a lot as we exit or as we even come into some of these podcasts. Hey, big hedge, right? Because that's what they do. When they see that one, ladies, y'all know I'm not lying. When they see that one, hey, big head, we're going to talk about hey, big hedge. And we're going to keep doing that. And we're going to go over pretty much infinite amounts of ways to hedge in life, in finances, relationships, because some of y'all hedge in relationships still. We're going to find ways to hedge, all right? So with that being said, welcome back. I feel great to be back. I can't wait to spend more time with y'all. We're going to have some fun. We're going to talk about Hey Big Hedge a lot more, all right? With that being said, I'll see you on the next one. I'm out.
I got Hitman on the beat. School out. Secure the bag with 1017 Scoochie. Yeah, Puerto Rico, East Atlanta. Well, Miami. My money machine go beep, I love the sound that it make. Plus all the racks I'm count, I think that my machine about to break. Secure the bag, yeah, that's the brand, and we get to the bag. These private flights, Miami nice, these Gucci bags full of cash. So when Tay Sweat from Puerto Rico, we go hard for the cheese. It's all legit, we making grip, they think I'm still selling keys. I just Cartier my eyes, cost 5 G's just